everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of IWC Spotlight. I'm your host, Nick Lendl, and our guest today is very popular among the IWC fans. You see her right here, making waves all over the IWC and accompanying a few of our biggest names to ringside month after month. Please welcome the Dimepiece. I mean, do I call you Dimepiece? Do I call you Piece? Do I call you Julia? I mean, I don't want to pull the curtain back too. I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful. What do you want me to call you here?
Well, since we're doing an interview, you can call me Julia. Otherwise, I would have you call me Dimepiece. But yeah, you can call me Julia.
All right, that makes me feel a little more comfortable. I don't want to say, oh, what do you think about this, Dimepiece? Or what? Hey, what do you think about this? Yeah, so yeah, Julia is a lot easier. You've been around for a couple months now. And I kind of got a little bit of a backstory from Justin Plummer. He reminded me of how everything started. And, you know, I don't, like I said, I don't want to reveal too much, but I'm kind of involved in the backstage aspect of things in IWC. I heard the rumblings when you were coming in. Have you always been a wrestling fan, or did everything just kind of fall together?
Well, I mean, I've always been a wrestling fan since I was a little kid. But I didn't really come into the independent scene until just a little over a year ago. It was actually John McChesney was the one that introduced it to me up in Erie. He had me go to one of the Revenge shows, and I decided to come down to Pittsburgh because I also live in Erie. And
okay.
So I decided to come down for one of the IWC shows, and I actually fell in love with it. And every single show that they had, I would make the trip down just to watch it.
Well, that's interesting you said that, because before I broke into the business, you always hear indie wrestling, and you always think there's like this, I don't want to say this this wrong viewpoint, because there's certainly places that are this way, but you kind of have that feel that it's a high school gymnasium or a rundown building with 20 or 30 people and basketball hoops everywhere. And that's kind of why, I mean, I always wanted to be an announcer. I always wanted to be involved in the business, but I kind of hesitated to get involved in the indie side of things because I thought that's all it was. And I was eventually talked into coming to an IWC show. And when I saw the production, when I saw the talent, I said, this is where I want to be. And it seems like you kind of had that same reaction. And for someone like John McChesney to personally invite you to Revenge, his own promotion, and now you being involved with Team Big League, he's certainly taking an interest in your career. Do you realize how lucky you are to have someone like that see an interest in you? I mean, McChesney's IWC Superstar of the Decade. He's a legend around the area. What do you feel about that? Do you realize the opportunity you guys have right now, Team Big League?
Well, obviously we have a huge opportunity because you've seen in the past what John McChesney has done with Team Big League. And the fact that he's the one that introduced the independent scene to me. And then obviously he's actually the one that introduced me to Elijah Dean. And that obviously we hit things off really, really well. And from there, it's just obviously he and I started working together. And then obviously we formed Team Big League. So it's an honor, really.
And you bring up Elijah Dean. I got a text from him about 5 minutes before we went on the air here, and he said, Lendl, don't try any funny business tonight, you sick freak. I want to remind everybody I'm married. Yeah, my kids are downstairs playing. That's not what this is about. Elijah Dean, and I mean, the guy came in a little bit before you. He started off with the Arquette entourage, and when it was time to break him away from that group, because he shined, he definitely shined, regardless of what my opinion is of the guy personally. He has talent, he has the look, he has it, as we say. And when it was time to break him away, I don't know if Justin Plummer had this exact vision, but what I saw was, especially when he started with the Man Dime character, I saw Shawn Michaels from 1991, 1992, when he broke up with Marty Jannetty and went out on his own. That's kind of what it reminded me of. And whenever you made your debut with the Mirror, it all came together to me, because I totally saw Sensational Sherry walking out with Shawn Michaels with the Mirror. And I don't want to say you're ripping it off because you're not. It works with what you're doing, but it was kind of like it all hit me at once. Like, oh, okay, I like this, and I'm standing in the ring watching you guys come in it, and I liked it.
Well, thank you. It definitely was an inspiration. But I mean, when I first saw him, obviously, like I work in the business of beauty also besides this, and just looking at him, like, how could you not enjoy looking at him? And the fact that we decided to come up with, like, I mean, how could you not want to look at yourself if you're that good looking? So why not share it with the world, the fact that he knows that he's good looking?
Well, he definitely knows. You brought up you're in the beauty business outside of wrestling. I know you cut hair, you do modeling. Remind me when we stop this recording here. I need to get scheduled here. You see my hair. My hair hasn't been this long since I was about 13. Looks ridiculous. I almost wore a hat on the show tonight, but someone needs to cut my hair because I'm not going to let my wife do it because she'll just buzz me. And you never know whenever this lockdown will be lifted and we'll start running events again. So I can't have my hair buzzed whenever I start. It's a whole big deal for me. But we talk about you breaking in and starting in Revenge. Do you have any wrestling training, or is this all about, being a part of Team Big League, being almost a valet of sorts, as they called it a decade or so ago?
I mean, there's a little bit. I'm actually just starting to do a little bit of training. I was going to, but then all of this happened, so I couldn't really start. But there is a little bit of training I'm going to be doing, but it's more for my own safety, because I don't want to get hurt.
Oh, absolutely. And, you talk about you're doing a little bit now, as that might change as time goes on. You might be in the business a year or two down the road and say, being on the outside for so long, watching all these matches, you might get that itch and say, I want to have, some matches. I want to get in the ring. I want to do more. But as you said, for your safety, that's the most important part. And if you're doing your job the way you should be, the fans, although the way you look, it's going to be hard for 18 to 60-year-old male to boo you. But, if you're doing your job, you want them to hate you. And eventually someone's going to have to knock you on your ass. And when that time comes, you don't want to get hurt. Yeah, it's a great feeling to be in the ring, but once something like that happens, you might change your mind and you might walk away from it. And that's not something you want to happen either at all.
Yeah. I mean, there were a couple times where, I don't know if you remember from the Wheeling Island Casino, whenever it was Elijah and I against John McChesney, he pulled me up by my hair. And I'll tell you what, that hurt.
Yeah, there's not really a way to do that, I guess.
Yeah, training or not, it's not fun to get pulled by your hair.
Well, you mentioned the Wheeling Island Casino. That's kind of where you were coming into your own. Outside of wrestling, you talk about beauty. We see you on Instagram, your Twitter. There's all these modeling pics. How long have you been modeling? Because I've seen you model all kinds of different things, from bathing suits, lingerie, motorcycles. That really seems to be working out for you as well.
I've actually been modeling for about 3 years now. It's been a absolutely wild ride, just doing all of that. And I actually I'm getting published in another magazine that's coming out this month. And one other thing that's really cool about it is not only am I getting my picture featured in it, there's actually a whole article about me being the Dimepiece and IWC and Revenge Pro Wrestling. So there's a whole article about it that's going to be published in this magazine.
Well, and that's awesome. And that's something to attest to your character. And I don't mean your character on screen. I mean your character as a human being, to get this kind of this kind of spotlight on yourself, to be interviewed in this magazine, all about you, all about the Dimepiece. And you promote IWC, you promote Revenge. It's not just about me. It's about everything I'm doing. And I'm sure Justin Plummer appreciates it. I'm sure McChesney appreciates it. And that's really impressive to me, because someone breaking in, only in the business a year or so, probably even less than you've been, for someone to not have that me mentality, that's really impressive this early on.
I guess it kind of comes with my career in the beauty business, where it's not just about selling myself. Like, I manage a whole salon, I manage a whole team, and I've always been like a team player. Every single person that works with me, like, I want to make sure they have a great opportunity. And so one of the big things is promoting the business that I work with it, whether it's the salon, whether it's the modeling that I do, whether it's like, sometimes I work at the bar and I'll promote the bar that I'm working at. So it helps bring people in, and it gives me more money in a selfish way. But at the same time, like, it really does bring the people in, and then the people that work above me, it's like, oh, she's valuable, let's keep using her.
Absolutely. Well, you talk about all these things you do outside of wrestling. Sometimes you work at the bar, you run a salon. With this whole situation that's going on, this pandemic, this lockdown, you're not able to do any of that, right?
No, I've been at home. I've been cleaning, organizing, but I mean, it's been nice because it's given me more time to work out. It's given me more time to work on some projects around the house that I've been really wanting to. And I've gotten to talk to a lot of my friends that I haven't actually had a chance to like sit down and have long conversations with in a long, long time.
Now, I mean, I don't want to say between you and me, because there's going to be a bunch of people watching this. But aren't you at least a little bit, excited to have a month or two away from Elijah Dean? I mean, he's awesome. You say he looks great. I can't dispute any of that, but he can be a handful sometimes.
Really? I'm going crazy. The fact that I have not seen him. The fact, like, how could you not want to be around him? How could you not want to enjoy the good-looking man that he is? How could you not want to be around the charismatic man that he is? I mean, he treats me like royalty. I mean.
Well, now you said that he treats you like royalty, and we're going to get into some fan questions here in a little bit, but one of those questions was, and it's a smart question, I love this question, where does your loyalty lie when it comes down to it? Is it with McChesney, who kind of gave you your start, or is it with Elijah Dean, who you're obviously more than infatuated with at this point?
It's always going to be Elijah, because it's always dime time.
Okay, well, we'll get the production team to maybe edit that part out so McChesney doesn't see it, because he's either going to be mad at you or he's going to come trying to kick my ass. But as far as what you expect to do in the business, you mentioned you have a lot of other things going on with your outside work. If this takes off for you, do you have, kind of a goal in mind as to where you would want to end up, not just as Dimepiece, but as Julia, in the wrestling business? Do you have an idea? Do you want to get signed and do this full time, or are you kind of just having fun, doing what you're doing now and being able to sustain a living outside of the business as well?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question. I mean, I would love to, if I ever get the opportunity to get signed. That would be absolutely fantastic. I don't know. Like, I've never really been asked that before. But if I do ever have the opportunity, I definitely would take it. And right now I'm having a ton of fun doing this. I'm absolutely enjoying every moment of it. I'm very passionate about it, and I'm really willing to put the work into it. So if something great comes out of it, great. And if not, at least I'm having fun while I'm doing it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you have to enjoy the ride. It's all about the journey, not the destination. You got to enjoy what you're doing right now. And another personal question here. They're coming in. They're not holding anything back here. When you came in, you talk about putting the work in to earn your spot. You said you haven't trained. You've only been in the business for a little over a year, less than a year, give or take. And IWC is one of the top independent promotions, not just in Pennsylvania, around. I've worked in a lot of places. IWC, the production, the fan support, it doesn't compare. And the personal question that I was getting at here is, did you have any resentment from the women's locker room in IWC? Hey, there's this pretty blonde girl that is just coming into our locker room and getting her face on camera without putting in the work that we have, without traveling, without taking the bumps. Did you feel any of that resentment, or were the girls in the locker room more accepting to you?
The girls have been absolutely 100% accepting, because this is their territory. I understand going into it. The fact that I know that I haven't done all the training that they have, I understand that I haven't gone through what they have gone through. So I know I'm at the bottom of the totem pole, and I respect that with them. And I tell them that I'm willing to do what it takes to earn my spot on the roster, in the locker room. Like, I know that I can't just go in there and be like, I'm the hottest thing. That's not how this business is run. And I learned that coming into this. I knew that and I expected that. So I came into the locker room with 100% respect for every single woman that was in there, because they have earned their spot. They have done the training. They've put their time in. And I know that I'm still just beginning, and I'm asking a lot of questions. Like, I want to earn my spot.
Well, you can definitely see, and in the interactions I've had with you over the last few months, you can definitely tell that you do not have a big head at all, regardless of, all these modeling pictures that you post and all your followers and all these people on Instagram that are obsessed with the Dimepiece. You didn't come in with a big head. You said you do ask questions. I see you in the locker room listening and wanting to be involved so much. And IWC, it is a family in a sense. A lot of those guys in the locker room have been there for a long time. And in a sense, it is a family and everyone sticks together. But if they sense that you're not for real, if they sense that you're a fake and you just want to come in here and get some camera time, they won't hide that from you. And especially some of the girls in that locker room, I don't want to bring up names because I don't want to have anybody upset with me, but there are some girls in that locker room that, I don't want to say have an ego, but are definitely proud of their spot. And you said, this is their locker room, this is their house. And I don't so much agree with you when you said, that you're at the bottom of the barrel, because you're not. I mean, everybody has a spot on the show, and whether you're taking bumps or whether you're walking out with the mirror, you have a spot on the show. And I don't think it's fair for anybody to say, I'm at the bottom of the barrel, even the people that are putting the ring together, even the people that are behind the scenes, because I've seen some people step out of the shadows that truly were at the bottom of the barrel and now are on TV. Well, I don't want to say TV, but are on camera every month. And that's certainly somewhere where you've elevated yourself. And another way I see that is with you interacting with your fans. Now, obviously, the Dimepiece is a bad guy character. And obviously, you're going to have a lot of creepy guys saying some weird crap to you. But there are some genuine fans, and they don't see good guy, bad guy, especially IWC. There's a lot of diehard fans from IWC that see hard work and they notice hard work. And you already are developing a relationship with some of these fans that may not like the Dimepiece character, but they respect Julia and the performer that's walking through the curtain. Talk to me about, over the last few months, developing some of those relationships with some of these diehard IWC fans that are pretty hard to please.
It's definitely been an interesting ride with that. I don't know, like it's just being able to be out there and interact with people. I'm a very social butterfly. I love talking to people. There there was one little boy. Now, this is one of my favorite things that for fans that have come up to me. This little boy came up and wanted a picture with me. And so we were taking photos, and then I decided to give him a little kiss on the cheek, and they got a picture of that. Well, the next show that he came to, they actually brought that picture of where I gave him a kiss on the cheek, and I signed it for him, and they gave me a copy of it. And I thought it was the sweetest thing ever. And I didn't realize I made that huge of an impact on this little boy and making his day just by giving him a little kiss on the cheek.
Oh, yeah, it was the sweetest day ever for him, too, believe me, because he's showing all of his little friends that picture. But no, yeah, seriously, though, that's a great story, you know, being able to interact with people and just touching someone's life when you don't realize that, you know, and that's hard being on this side of the barricade. You sometimes don't realize the impact you have on people. And I'm trying to scroll through some questions here. There's about 30, 40 questions. Are you single? Can I have your phone number? Will you date me? Why won't you answer my DMs? So I'm trying to, more of Elijah Dean telling me to watch what I say. Okay, here's one. Here's a good question here. Outside of the ring, who are some of your favorite people to hang out with in the business?
In the business? Well, obviously, I hang out with John McChesney, because not only for IWC, but locally around Erie. I love hanging out with Jock Sampson. Love hanging out with him. Every time I see him, I always get the biggest bear hug from him. Let's see. I mean, I always try to be a social butterfly with everybody as much as I possibly can. And I'm sure you've seen in the locker room, I'm a big hugger. When I see everybody, I give them a big hug the first time I see them. So, I mean, I try to be a social butterfly and like talk to everybody that I can. So like, I guess everybody really.
But the safe answer. Okay, here's the question. What is the you don't have to answer this. What is the creepiest thing a fan has ever said to you, ever asked you, or ever DM'd you?
The creepiest? There was somebody that messaged me asking if, like, I guess they didn't see what I wore on my feet, and then they would ask me if my toenails were painted, and they wanted a picture of my feet. So that was the weirdest thing I've ever gotten, I would say.
Did you send the picture?
No. No.
Okay. Well, obviously you're working for IWC, Revenge in Erie. Do you have plans on, well, obviously nothing's going on right now. Whenever everything resumes, do you have plans on branching out and trying to work some other promotions and get your name out there?
I wouldn't be opposed to it. Obviously, really enjoy working with Elijah, and so I'm going to talk to him and see about some of the other promotions that he works with and see if they want to have us together for it.
I think so. And I mean, me as looking at it from an outsider point of view, when I see Elijah Dean on the card, it's already become customary that you're expecting to see the Dimepiece. So Elijah better get on his high horse and make sure that you're coming to these bookings, because if I'm a fan and I don't see you with Elijah, I might be going and getting my refund. I might be taking my toilet paper and walking right out of there.
I know that he does 2PW and Imagine. So I did go to a couple of the 2PW shows. So you might see me there. I have to branch out to Imagine and see if they'd be interested in having me work with them there. So you never know.
Great. Now, another question here. You said maybe if the time falls into place, would you want to train? This says here, do you have any aspirations of being a women's champion?
I guess the world will have to find out when the time comes, because with me, you never know what to expect.
We'll cut it off there. We're about a half hour in here. I just wanted to ask you before we go, was there anything that you wanted to cover that we haven't gone over? Was there anything you wanted to say to your fans or your haters out there, or any message that you want to deliver, anything you want to promote, anything before we go off the air here?
Well, definitely the magazine that I'm getting published in this month. Definitely check it out. It's Rockstar Dream Magazine. Like I said, it has a picture of me modeling, and it has a little article about me as Dimepiece. But it's a great thing. I know that there's going to be a little article about Jericho in there. So definitely pick that up. There's obviously some absolutely beautiful women that I know personally that are in it. So definitely check that out. But other than that, just keep watching and keep loving me.
Well, I want to thank you for joining me here on Spotlight, and I want to wish you nothing but the best of luck, because I've seen your progress over the last few months, and you obviously have the will to put in what you need to make it. But at the same time, you know, just with my little bit of interaction I've had with you over the last few months, talking to you right now, you're a genuine good person, and that's who we like to see succeed in the business. So nothing but, you know, the best for you moving forward, and I hope to see you in person soon. Maybe we can get together and you can do something with my hair. Maybe by the next episode, I'll have a nice fresh cut. And we're going to go on at IWCWrestling.com, all of our social media. There's going to be a link there for you to vote on our guests for next week. But as for this week, I'm Nick Lendl. Once again, thanks to my guest, the Dimepiece, Julia, and we'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.